Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks. With the Spain news update, we'll have a look at some of the main stories that have caught my attention in the Spanish press over the last day or so. We'll also go into the comment section, check out what has been happening there. Lots of comments, lots of debate in the comment section recently. And before we start, I'd like to say a big thanks to all of the people that have supported the channel recently, whether you have bought me a coffee or a wine or a beer, whether you have joined as a patron on Patreon. Many thanks for your support. Now straight into the news, and government coalition partner Podemos making headlines today. I think they've worked out the secret formula how to get in the headlines close to an election, following Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez's lead by making ludicrous statements. And as we can see here, Podemos leader Belarra calls for the creation of a public supermarket against the kingpin Juan Roj of Mercadona. The Secretary General of Podemos and Minister for Social Rights, Ione Belarra, has advocated the creation of public supermarkets that allow to confront the food oligopoly led by the boss, Juan Roj, president of Mercadona, lower prices and protect small and medium-sized producers. She made this clear during a conference on strategic sectors organised by the Purple Party this Sunday in Cáceres, in which she participated together with the candidate of United for Extremadura for the presidency of the Junta, Irene de Miguel, and other members of the party. So, there we go. The leader of the Podemos political party here in Spain, Ione Belarra, also a government minister here in Spain because Podemos is part of the coalition government, calling for the creation of a public supermarket in order to take on big supermarket chains like Mercadona. Now, I don't know what your opinion of the creation of a public supermarket is, but I was speaking to somebody this morning who comes from a country that does have public supermarkets, and she said it is a bad idea. Because I imagine the type of supermarket that Podemos is talking about is already up and running in some of the countries that Podemos considers to be the models to follow. I'm not going to name those countries, but if you know what side of politics Podemos is on, you'll know which countries I'm talking about. So not 100% sure what's going on here, but I think, as I said a couple of minutes ago, Podemos is following Pedro Sanchez's lead and making ludicrous statements just before elections in order to make headlines so people know and remember who you are. Now, the next story today relates to the golden visa scheme here in Spain. As we know, some countries in Europe have talked about scrapping their golden visa scheme. Portugal, for example, has decided to rename it, change it a little bit, I believe. And a couple of weeks ago, I said that it was a matter of time before Spain followed Portugal's lead. And apparently, I was right. Because as we can read here in this article from El País, the government plans to tighten gold visas for home purchases by foreigners. The Ministry of Inclusion, Social Security and Migration is considering tightening up the system by which it grants golden visas, which grant residents permits in exchange for significant financial investments. The aim is to raise the bar on the system for granting residence permits to foreigners who invest more than 500,000 euros in a home in Spain. This is assured by sources in the ministry headed by José Luis Escrivá and confirmed by sources in Mas País, the party led by Íñigo Errejón, which is negotiating this measure with Social Security and Inclusion. Golden visas are an instrument approved by the government of Mariano Rajoy in 2013 through the entrepreneurship law at a time when the real estate sector was languishing due to the bursting of the housing bubble and foreign investment was stampeding away due to the sovereign debt crisis that precipitated the Spanish bank bailout more than 10 years ago. So there we go, the golden visa scheme here in Spain, which as we saw set up in 2013 by Mariano Rajoy in order to attract foreign investment, which was leaving the country because of the bursting of that housing bubble. Lots of people were fleeing the country, lots of investors were fleeing the country, and the government at the time decided it would be a good idea to offer rich foreigners the chance to buy property here in Spain and secure a visa. But as we know, this has led to other problems, for example, locals being squeezed out of the property market, and now the government in 2023 has decided to react. And I will also say that the European Union has also suggested that all countries that have this type of visa scrap it as soon as possible. Now, keeping on the subject of foreign investors, but foreign investors that unfortunately lost a lot of money here in Spain because of government policy changing. And as we can read here, foreign investors do not forgive and continue to demand billions in payments from Spain for the 2013 acts on renewables. For a decade, Spain has been dragging behind it a painful legacy in the form of lawsuits from foreign renewable energy investors, which it has been unable to stop, and in which it is risking having to pay up to 10 billion euros in compensation. The origin is the law passed by Mariano Rajoy's government in 2013 to impose charges and tolls on self-consumption energy projects, the so-called sun tax, which also included a reduction in the profitability that many companies that had launched thousands of renewable energy projects in Spain had expected. This provoked a flood of lawsuits that the current government did not manage to stop in 2019 with a law to try to compensate them, nor, as the years went by, in international courts. The latest condemnation came last Wednesday and obliges Spain to pay 24.5 million euros plus 60% of the costs and interest to the British company Infracapital Solar. So there we go, foreign investors not giving up, not forgiving the Spanish government for all of the millions of euros that were lost because of that change in policy. A few years earlier, the government was encouraging people to invest in renewable energies in this country, saying that Spain was a leader in the sector. And as we saw there, a few years later, in 2013, the axe came down, the law changed, and investors lost millions. And of course, they want to get their money back. And it's no surprise that both individuals and companies are hesitant to invest in this country when it comes to botched policies like this one. Now let's go into the comment section and check out what's happening there. First one here from Ray. One question: where is Mr. Sanchez going to get the money from in order to deliver on these promises? Yeah, Ray, thanks for the comment and for the question, and it's a good question considering that the election promises have been coming thick and fast in recent times from people like Mr. Sanchez. And where is the money going to come from for these promises? Well, I think it's going to come from different sources. For example, European Union grants and loans. As we know, Spain receiving a lot of money from the European Union recently, and also through raising taxes here. The average taxpayer here in Spain is going to have their taxes increased if they haven't been increased already, I believe. So basically that's where the money's going to come from, I think. Another comment here from David: all this to be a postman. Yeah, David, thanks for the comment, and related to an article that we saw yesterday about how the postal service here in Spain, Correos, had their exams yesterday. They're going to hire some 7,500 people, and around 80,000 people sat the exams yesterday, I believe. And yes, to become a postie in this country, that's what you have to do. Sit an exam and hope that you get lucky. And it is a highly sought after job, as I just mentioned, some 80,000 candidates for 7,500 jobs, and I know at least 2 people that were preparing for the exams. One of the neighbours just around the corner here, and a former student of mine in Catalonia, was also preparing for this exam. And a couple of years ago, the neighbour in front of me also passed one of these exams and is now working for the postal service Correos here in Spain. And why are people desperate to work for the postal service? Well, it's a job for life. Another one here from Twig: good luck with the heat pumps. Can't imagine heating is really a problem in España. Yeah, Twig, thanks for the comment, but heating is an issue for a lot of people here in Spain, especially on mainland Spain. It might not be the case in the Canary Islands if you were living close to the beach down there, fantastic temperatures all year round, but on mainland Spain, a lot of people do need heating in the winter months. Maybe in some of the coastal areas, Malaga, Alicante, it's only a month or 2 months that you need heating for, but here in Madrid, for example, a typical winter can last around 6 months with the heating on. And as I have mentioned a couple of times over the last week or so, from 2028 on, because of a European Union directive, you'll no longer be able to install a gas boiler in your home. You'll have to look for some type of alternative heating, heat pumps, for example, some type of heating that is carbon neutral. So a lot of the ways that homes have been heated over the last 20 or 30 years here in Spain, for example, with gas boilers, natural gas boilers, will no longer be allowed. Another comment here from Tony: Stu, you can vote in the local elections as long as you are registered with your padrón. I'm sorted, so I will vote any far-right party just to stick my 2 fingers up to the crooks, etc. Some may think I'm stupid, but it's my right to choose, etc. Tony Cuenca. Yeah, Tony, thanks for the comment, but unfortunately not all foreigners, or extranjeros as we are known here in Spain, are able to vote in local elections. I, for example, being an Australian citizen, do not have the right to vote. But you're partly right, because some foreigners are indeed allowed to vote. Let's have a look at which ones can. As we can see here, in municipal elections, foreigners residing in Spain whose respective countries allow Spaniards to vote in said elections under the terms of a treaty enjoy the right to active suffrage. Currently, these countries are Bolivian, Cape Verde, Chile, Colombia, Korea, Ecuador, Iceland, Norway, New Zealand, Paraguay, Peru, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, Trinidad and Tobago. Likewise, all persons residing in Spain who, without having acquired Spanish nationality, enjoy the right to vote, have the status of citizens of the European Union, meet the requirements to be a voter required for Spaniards, they have expressed their willingness to exercise the right to active suffrage in Spain. So there we go, and as we saw, no mention of Australia on that list, but surprisingly, New Zealand, yes. So I'm sure that the 5 or 6 Kiwis that reside here in Spain will exercise their right to vote on the 28th of May. Just joking about the numbers. And you, Tony, I imagine the reason that you can vote is because you're from the UK. And good luck with your vote. I'm sure the far-right party that you decide to vote for will appreciate it. One here from Stevo, there's a water shortage on the Costa del Sol. Surely that's where the most golf courses and swimming pools are located. Yes, Stevo, thanks for the comment, and you could be right. The most amount of golf courses here in Spain could be located on the Costa del Sol. Not sure about swimming pools, but maybe golf courses, yes. I asked this question a couple of weeks ago about where golf courses get their water from to keep their fairways and greens lush, and a few people replied saying that they use what's known as grey water to water golf courses, water that is not used for drinking purposes or for other human purposes, but solely used for watering. I believe that's what they use down there on the Costa del Sol. But if anybody has a better reply to Stevo's comment about where golf courses on the Costa del Sol down there in Malaga get their water from, please let us know in the comment section below. And the final comment here from PM, hi Stu, I don't know where you are at the moment, but what I found alarming is how low the river level is and seeing all those beached boats. Spain sure needs more rain. Yeah, PM, thanks for the comment, and the video that you are referring to was recorded in the city of Pontevedra, which is in the northwest of Spain, in the autonomous community of Galicia, and don't worry, they don't have a problem with water supply there. The reason the boats were showing was because I recorded at low tide. The tides come in and the tides go out. At that time of the day was quite low, and the Atlantic Ocean in that part of the world, Portugal, Galicia, parts of France there as well, I believe, have quite a lot of tidal activity. Not sure on the exact amount of tide that goes out, but at least a couple of meters, I would say. So at that particular moment when I was recording that video, it was low tide, but don't worry, as I said, that part of Spain, no problems with water currently. On that note, I'll wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.